Greetings, Algo Artisans. We're going to have another look at Opulous today. Great coin, had a great run so far. We're going to dig into the coin a little bit on its website and some of its blogs and information, and we're going to start in the charts right now. Okay, so Opulous right now sitting at 19 cents, had a great move in March. Within the space of a month, it went from 10 cents all the way up to 40 cents. That's a ×4 in a month. That's killer. Now, of course, it did retrace with a lot of coins, and it moved down from that 40 cent mark all the way down to bottom out at 13 cents, and that was on the 30th of April, so right where this line is. And since then, it's gone up about 70%, up to 22.9 cents. So almost doubled in the space of 1 month, and that's when a lot of coins are actually suffering. Some are doing well, some are not, so this coin is showing some strength in what can be a tough time. Now we can go back in its price history and see that during the prior bull run, it topped out at about $8. So $8 is a potential. That's where it could go. In fact, historically, each bull run gets stronger, so we could see price go above $8. But again, this is a relatively new asset class, and we don't know if that's going to happen this time. We don't know the future, but what we can do is we can use data from the past to predict the future. So let's start doing that. We have a local high going back a few weeks to 23.7 cents. We have an April high of 29.5 cents. We have a 2024 high of 40 cents. And then if we go back to the prior bull run, we can see some pivot points on the way down where price tried to rally and got pushed back down. And those are good areas where as price goes up above the 2024 highs, we can look at these areas for what might happen, where it might find some trouble. One of these is right here sitting at about $1. In fact, if I were to trade this, I would pull profit out before that dollar. It's a psychological point when you start to get above $1, so maybe 98 cents or something like that. If I were to pull profit, I would there. There's another pivot at $2.40, $4.30, $5.50, $6.80. So all these are areas where price might go ahead and reject. Now, I do have a couple of high time frame ranges I would look at, although these are antiquated, but I would imagine the price gets attracted to this zone right here between 320 and 430, and then we have another between 430 and 570. So we do have a fair amount of price action going to the past on that. So whether or not price does behave as price usually does around ranges, that remains to be seen with those being so old, but I will mark those out and I'll bring them to present day so we can just build a thesis around that. Okay, so locally, what might happen with price? Well, the most recent run that happened this month can be treated as an impulse. It's not a pure impulse. There is a pullback in here, but I'm going to go ahead and treat it as an impulse and look at the volume on this. I'm not going to necessarily look at Fibonacci pullbacks because of that lack of purity in impulse. However, the volume nodes do matter because in the daily algos, price is a little bit bearish. Now, it can turn around at any time, but it is still having some downward pressure right now. So where might price go? If we look at our fixed volume range tool, we have a lot of these volume nodes pushing out right here, and that's between 17.3 cents and 18.4 cents. So in that 10-cent range, price is going to want to go there to grab liquidity. You could even push that up just a little bit because there's a fair amount of volume right where price is right now, and I think the price is going to dip down into that or at least bounce off of that. Are we at a bottom yet? I don't think so. The daily algos don't tell me that we are at a bottom, but I do think that price will head down, and it's going to be most attracted right to this red line, this point of control where most of the volume is in the recent history. So price could easily over the next several days inch down to about 18 cents, could go a little below, go a little above, and then eventually start to make its way up. And it could reverse very quickly, or it simply could build a bit of a range down here, or just whatever, consolidate and then head up later. And a lot of that is going to depend on what happens with Bitcoin. So of course Bitcoin still pushes the market, as we know, and that is what that is. Okay, so as price heads up, the local areas that I'm concerned about when it comes to where price might reject are going to be at this 23.7 cents, the recent high, this other high that I marked out at 29.5 cents, and of course at 39 cents, or 40 really. Now, as price breaches 40, Bitcoin will probably be on its way up, and depending on how quickly Bitcoin runs up, we could see alts actually take a little bit of a hit. If it really fumbles up, then alts might take a hit, but if not, they won't. Either way, once price breaks 40, it's probably off to the races. And so what would that look like? Well, I would simply have price heading up until those prior resistances. Now, in bull markets, price could literally just blow right through those, or not. It might reject and then head up. It's all going to depend on the market itself. It's a pretty simple thing to just look at these areas and see price might reject reject here. And in these, say $3 to $4.30 and this $4.50 to about $5.70, those are areas where price might actually range a bit just because of the prior price action. That might happen on the way up. Either way, we do have the data, right? We have an idea of where price can reject. We have an idea where price might be attracted to. And these are just data that I would use in trading. This is not a buy and hold look. If I were buying and holding, I would just buy and hold throughout the bull market until probably a year from now or a little bit less, maybe 8 months from now. But whatever the scenario is, a hybrid theory for this could be that I purchase a decent amount of this coin, I take a decent position, and then as it heads up and starts to breach these, I might take a little profit out and put it into other coins or into whatever else I want to put it into at each of these. And then once it breaks past 40 cents, I might simply hold on to it through the bull run and not quite worry about those upper levels. Because once these coins take off, they simply take off. I mean, look at this prior bull run. I mean, these bull runs, when they really get going, they just power through. They just keep going up and up and up. So I wouldn't worry so much about these levels. But of course, during that bull run, we could get some different news. Things could change. It might be that there are other coins, better opportunities, but that's the plan for now. Now, I don't have a position right now, I don't believe. I may acquire a position in this. I'd sell little bits up until this 40-cent mark just to take my initial investment off the table and let the rest run. So let's dig into the coin itself. Quick look at CoinGecko. We've done all this before, so I'm not going to go into high detail. We have a market cap of 86,000. About 1.5% of that's being traded, which is relatively low, but with price being where it is and the market being where it is, that's not a big surprise. We do have low volume moments before high volume moments, so I wouldn't pay as much attention to the trading volume as a long-term metric. It's a short-term metric, and I'd prefer to have this data over several days, and I'm not sure if I can get that. I need to look into that. If anybody in the audience knows whether or not I can chart this 24-hour trading volume data, then that would be most helpful. Opulous can be found on KuCoin, MexC, Uniswap, decent volume on Uniswap, so it's pretty available on the DEXs, which is very encouraging. Let's move over to the website here. This is their main message, and again, I've done this before. I'm not going to go too deep into this, but we got tokenized music assets. Traditional financing structures within the music industry are outdated and centralized. Opulous democratizes music financing while strengthening the artist-fan connection, creating more equitable and supportive music economy. AI-driven tools for music data, which is really cool. I'll take a brief look at that, but basically what they're able to do is to figure out whether or not a song is going to do well based on streamer data. So they have access to over 100 streaming platforms, and they can tell, okay, in this market, this does well, or maybe based on this time of year, they have all the data parsed out using AI. Now, they have Opulous Finance, where you can stake and you earn what's called tickets. And it says here, get access to music catalogs, including artists such as BTS, Prince, and Beyonce, and earn 10% APY staking on USDC. What they didn't mention on here is Michael Jackson and Phil Collins. I mean, they have access to some really big artist names that I find very interesting that they're involved in this. We have music fungible tokens, brand new way to experience music that you love, and you can buy and sell them. It's like an NFT, but it's music. And this is the Opulous tickets. Of course, you can get this by staking your tokens or completing simple tasks. So they have kind of a bounty system on here, which is pretty cool. And they're essential to get access to Opulous products. Here's their blog. The MFT airdrop is interesting. Sparkody is the artist. It's first of many MFT airdrops on the Arbitrum network, featuring none other than Sarkody's The Championship mixtape. This is a groundbreaking opportunity, offers holders the chance to dive into the world of music investment and earn from this exceptional 6-track mixtape. And then it tells you how to get in on the action. Obviously, you have to have the tickets, and then once you have tickets, you can register for any of the MFT airdrops. What they're doing basically is they are encouraging people to buy and hold so that you can gain tickets through staking. Just another way to encourage the price to go up on these coins. Very interesting stuff, and also you can see that they are doing their staking on the Arbitrum network. I've seen Arbitrum going around. I've heard a couple things about it. I've heard that it's not as popular as people thought it would be, but then you do have some pretty decent projects on it. It might be gaining popularity. So I'm very interested anytime I see Arbitrum being involved in a project. Definitely a good place to handle all of the DeFi stuff. So this is a good project. I do like it. And again, names like Michael Jackson, Phil Collins, and the other names they mentioned, Celine Dion, Prince, BTS, those are big names to be able to invest in. It seems that for such big names to be involved, they're really giving this whole blockchain thing a chance. So I think this does have a pretty good chance of doing well. And the way I think I will handle it is, like I said, I might gain a position and go ahead and hold that position through this bull market, selling some at some of those levels. So I do hope this video was helpful. Please come over to algofactory.tech. We help people build a trading method, otherwise known as an algorithm. You don't have to know how to code. Most of our traders are actually trading manually, but you do have the option to be on the path to having it coded, where you just have a trade for you. We have some customers who are pretty happy with their progress over at Algo Factory Factory. Let's listen to one of those right now.
Hey, Cowboy V, I just wanted to give a heartfelt thanks for putting this project together. I initially joined Algo Factory a year ago, concerned about a repeat of the 2008 Great Financial Crisis and the prospect of losing my job again. Within 12 months, under V and Cowboy's expert tuition, including live reviews, I've created a profitable algorithm launched across a selection of assets. Now, facing the prospect of redundancy and a nice fat severance package to trade with, my current worst case scenario is to keep my job. Thanks again, guys. Really appreciate what you've done here.
All right, thanks for listening to that. Don't forget, algofactory.tech. Trade your job, upgrade your life. We'll see you on the next one.